Thanks for joining us on our Prosperity Builders broadcast. Hey, click subscribe so we can notify you of new content, and like us on social media.
That's a great idea. Like us on social media.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Prosperity Builders broadcast. And as you know, we do a weekly podcast, and it is focusing on two different areas. We talk to a lot of community leaders that give us a little bit more information on what's going on with the community and their contributions. And also, we are speaking with very successful real estate agents who are sharing their best practices so that all realtors can do better in what they're doing with their job. Karen, who do we have tonight?
Well, today we have a fabulous community leader, Cory Phillips. And Cory, welcome.
Thank you.
Cheers. Today is
Yep,
our...
we're celebrating the Fainting Goat's new bourbon, so cheers to them.
Cheers to them. Thank you for supplying that for us. And welcome.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
And Cory, you are the community leader for the Roberts Center right now. Is that correct?
That's
For
correct. So Crumley Roberts, in an innovative fashion, took all of the money that they had been allocating to community efforts and said, look, we're shelling out money to this cause and that cause and asking a lawyer and their spouse to attend this dinner that they may or may not have had a connection to, and therefore were they really authentically connected. And they reallocated that money. We still donate in a great way to those efforts. American Heart Association is a prime example. However, how can we best practice what we preach in our community? We are a personal injury law firm. What if we fit every child in Guilford County and in Mecklenburg County and anywhere we have an office with a bicycle helmet, so that no child ever has to worry about being hurt long-term with a bicycle accident. So that's where I stepped in. That program was built as a kid zone, as a bicycle rodeo, and then they challenged me in my role to further develop it. What else can we do to be of service to our community? So now we teach hands-only CPR. We teach internet safety. We teach anti-bullying curriculum. We looked at nonprofits, local nonprofits, and said, probably not every local nonprofit has a line item in their budget to advance their growing leadership. The folks that look like they have potential, how do we accelerate their growth? And so we teach a 6-week program where we bring those folks in and we do personal development, leadership development, so that they can give back not only to their nonprofit, but to their community, their family, themselves.
Yeah.
So not only are you helping the community individuals, you're also helping the nonprofits that also serve different individuals and different resources and helping them in learning how to grow their nonprofits.
Correct.
business.
That's exactly right. If we can put ourselves out of business from bicycle accidents, then we'll find something else that we can stand up for. And that's kind of our role. You know, our tagline, but also our core value is that we will stand up for you. So if we can put ourselves out of business in that line item, we'll find something else that we can defend.
So sometimes these type of efforts that your company's doing, it creates this contagious attitude with other companies. Not necessarily competitive, but they see what you're doing and they want to have a piece of the action and jump in. Are you seeing some of that going on?
Yes and no. You know, every law firm, if they're smart, wants to advertise a whole bunch. What drew me, I was courted by the Roberts family. And that was a real honor because what drew me to them is there's a lot of commercials out there that they sound imposing, they sound threatening, they sound like they're going to step into a cage with a UFC fighter and defend your honor. I mean, that's Karate Kid stuff, that's well and good, but what does the client really need? What does their family really need? How can we be a part of that family and provide that level of service? When you sit down with Kim and Chris Roberts, it just feels different. And I was in a really good position with where I was before, and I had no reason to leave until they showed me and compelled me with a great reason, which was just they're two good people trying to make a difference in not only the Greensboro community, but well beyond.
So at this point, you're in what year with your position?
Yeah, just hit 4 years. Yeah, and it's kind of a no looking back thing. There's never a day that looks the same. When the pandemic hit, within 10 days, the entire company, almost 200 employees across Alabama, Greensboro, Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina. We were mobile. We were home working and still providing the same level of service. You know, when you're in PR and you're not allowed to be in P in order to R, you've got to adapt. We switched gears and we put out a weekly Facebook show, a daily Facebook show, 5 days a week for 4 months. And each day focus on a different thing. A lot like what you're doing. It's leadership, it's kids programming, it's wellness on Wednesdays, it's kids programming again on Thursday, and Friday was just kind of a fun time thing. But then the world shifted again. And here in Greensboro, there was a cry. You know, we go to church together. And in the book that we study, when God's people cry out, somebody's got to answer. And there was a cry for social justice. And then suddenly our programming shifted to a space where how can we provide a megaphone for the voices that are crying out to be heard? And so last summer was really intentional on ways that we can provide that megaphone. And have really difficult conversation and ask the hard questions and be accountable for the answers. That was really empowering and a position I never would have thought I would have been put in because I said yes to Kim and Chris to be a director for their Roberts Center, right? But there we were, the need was met. Do I see others doing that? To answer your question, finally, sort of. Do I challenge people to find a place where they can step into that arena? 100%. Leadership is hard. You know, we're building the next 50 feet of road as a leader, right? We, in general. And that takes failure, it takes effort, it takes sweat equity, and then you've got to light that way in hopes that the next group will rocket past you so that the community can benefit from it.
Yeah. Well, it's awesome. And, you know, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree because I'm involved a lot of efforts with your dad, and his whole thing has always been just try to understand the other point of view and just listen. Don't challenge, don't criticize, just listen to try to understand. I think that's what you're trying to say here.
Yeah, that's the role model that I am challenged to live up to and hopefully exceed or succeed every day. So I'm really lucky, right? And it's also incredibly fun. If I wasn't bald before, that's why, you know. So
I'm not far behind you.
Yeah, but that's what we're called to do, right? I mean, there's an opportunity each day for us to take the red pill, to use a Matrix reference, right? We can wake up to what's really happening around us, or we can take the blue pill and go back to sleep and just be fine. Once you taste, you can't untaste. I tasted the red pill, and I don't want to go back to the blue pill.
Well, you mentioned something as far as, you know, you had some successes and you had some failures, but you learned from all of that, and that's all part of leadership. And you've been a great leader within the community by doing things like that. You have also brought in this F3.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Tell us how did that get started?
Yeah, in a nutshell, F3 started, it launched in Charlotte, North Carolina in 2011, January 1st, 2011. It then quickly came to Greensboro. F3 is a men's personal and leadership development program disguised as a free boot camp workout. We started here in Greensboro in October of 15. Don't fact check me on that. But we have since grown.
Let me say that's what.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, it was 14. Now you can fact check me on that. October of 14, we have since grown to 2,500 men across the Greensboro, Oak Ridge.
2,500, wow.
Yeah. And Summerfield Community, Pleasant Garden, we're all over. We have 40 different workouts every week that you just show up. The idea is put in your best effort. Get yourself to the best shape of your adult life. This workout is free. Now that you're surrounded by men who are just trying to get better in every aspect of their life, what are you going to do to pay back the free workout? And we define that, F3, as fitness, fellowship, and faith. So we define the faith component as just simply a belief in something bigger than yourself. It's not a religious connection. We are in the South. There are many Christian men in our group. We need Jewish men. We need men who are simply community leaders that don't connect themselves to a faith, to a religious component. because we can all learn from each other. So we work out for 45 minutes every day. It's horrible. And at the end, we close with what we call a circle of trust. And it's a 3 to 5 minute window for anybody to step into that circle who is brave enough. We're coming up on the holidays, and a lot of people don't find that to be a happy space, right? But nobody talks about that. And this is a space where guys can step in and say, I'm hurt, or I need help, or I don't understand how to raise my child, or I want to celebrate anything, right? A victory, a win. And we're just there to be a part of that and to bear witness to it. And if they need the assistance, to lift a hand. If they need the applause, then we've got 2 hands to put together. But beyond that, what are you going to do with that power? With the power of being fit, being healthy, being surrounded by high impact men. And I say that specifically because I would argue, and I'll go to my grave arguing this, that we are sorely lacking of virtuous leadership. That's the problem we're trying to fix. Not Greensboro specifically, but just out there. Leaders are out there that are leading but without virtue. And that bothers me. We see it every day on the news. We see it every day in print. There's buzzwords that are taking away that are distracting us from the core issue. We're better than that. We're called to be different, right? We're all drawn together because we're just different. We're built different, and we're called to fix something. Yeah. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I just want to make sure that these guys who are driven for positive change have an outlet to affect it.
So, Cory, in 6 short years, you've gone from a brand new venture in Greensboro to the number of men that are participating today. How does that look like? How did that look like in the building process? Give me a quick overview of how that happened.
It was contagious at first. A lot of guys jumped in. It sounded fun. It was dumb. Guys are.
You're up at 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, aren't you?
4:30 on a good day.
4:30.
Yeah. Our workouts generally on weekdays run from 5:30 until 6:15. Hard start, hard stop. Guys have lives. We honor that. We want them to be home, shaking the kids, cooking the bacon, whatever it takes to get those kids out the door, because we're paying it forward. A lot of guys were hell-bent on showing up and getting after it, and we grew quickly. Then we stepped back, and I stepped into a leadership role called the Nantan, which is an Apache word for chief. So I was our spiritual guru, is how we put it in print, for F3 Greensboro. I never saw myself as a leader. In fact, if before that time hit, you had asked me or told me that I'd be in that position, I would have laughed and then gone home and probably been like, I wish I could be in that position. But I had guys who believed in me, and they tutored me, and there I was. So there we were at about 1,500 guys when I took the helm, and 3 men at the same week at different times said, we don't look like Greensboro. I heard it the first time, it echoed the second time. The third time was on a Friday morning at 5:30ish in front of the Civil Rights Museum. Somebody said, that's Greensboro. That's a part of Greensboro. We don't look like that. And so the 4 of us put together what we called just a task force. And we sat down and argued in Chick-fil-A to one point where an officer came over and asked if we were all okay. But we were trying to fix something that was broken or wasn't optimal, right? We were trying to optimize something, and we launched a workout on a Saturday morning at Dudley High School. Before the arguments, we were going to be somewhere else. And we were also going to be the white knights who rode in to fix something. There's nothing that needed to be fixed.
Just open up your hearts.
We needed the megaphone, right?
Yeah.
And there were just voices that wanted to be heard and participate. Well, so we called it, we call all of our workouts a specific name. Dudley is the Panthers is their mascot. Marvel was rocking and rolling. So that workout on Saturday mornings is called Wakanda. And
Wakanda?
Wakanda. So,
W-A-C-A-N-D-A.
W-A-K-A-N-D-A, right?
Wakanda, okay.
Yeah. And the idea is that Wakanda forever. And so we're drawing on the roots of Greensboro, the civil rights history of Greensboro, which is so rich and so unknown, and bringing guys out that didn't know we existed, and not only, my favorite part is this. I'll just, because I could ramble all day on this. I will say this. We did it with the intention of making F3 look like Greensboro. And then it happened, and that was great. So, hooray, everybody, the goal was achieved. But what makes me know that we built something not only authentically, but with lasting value and this kind of intergenerational gift is that guys that look like nobody else show up everywhere now. So Wakanda didn't become the black F3. Wakanda became another workout that allowed guys to step out of the normal and be a part of something bigger than themselves. And that makes me happy because now my son who is 13, I invite him out all the time. He's got guys who are 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. We got a 72-year-old who every Saturday works out with my son and pours into him in ways that I could only hope to do, right? I mean, you're a dad, you've said a million times, put the toilet seat down. But then some way, somehow, somebody else says it and they listen, finally.
Yeah.
So that's what's been important. And I've stepped out of that role. I'm now in a national role. But my hope is that I can still find ways to celebrate guys who are doing the things I can only dream of doing. Yeah. I mean, our community needs it. Right?
So Cory, you said that the workout's free and with the expectation of giving back. Can you just spend a few minutes talking about some of the things you've done in the community with F3 giving back?
I can, and I'll do it as quick as possible. There's a lot. Blood drives. We've packed backpacks full of canned goods, 50, 60, 70 pounds, and walked them 5 miles to the soup kitchens. We've built houses, we've painted houses, we've repaired things, we've paved driveways. Find the need, fill a need. My biggest passion right now is we decided at 5 years that we're going to raise $100,000 and we're going to build a playground at a school, a Title I school in the Glenwood community, Peck Elementary. We're working closely with Guilford County Schools. And the day after we pulled the trigger on that, which was March 16th, March 17th was when we all went lockdown and nobody wanted to talk about playgrounds or being outside or being together. We raised 60 grand. So we're not there yet, but we have this momentum that's going to happen. And it's not that we just want to put a playground on Peck's campus. We want it to be a multi-generational gift. In a perfect world, that'll become not only our next workout site, but it's going to be inviting men out to the community. Our sister organization, FIA, Females in Action, will come out and they'll host a Saturday workout to draw the women out to the community and let them know that they are a part of something that is desperately needing their feedback. I hope that when I'm 75 years old, I'll be strutting around that playground with my other 75-year-old friends and looking at my son who is working out with his son and their friends who don't look like them. Because that's our community. That's so important.
Yeah. And you talk about nationally. You've gone national as well. And then you also have a podcast, right?
Correct.
So if you want to find out about the podcast and hear more about F3 nationally, there's F3?
Yeah, no matter who's tuning in, you can go to f3nation.com. And that is for any man who is looking for something to be a part of, like, please, f3nation.com. Ladies, FIA nation.com. I guarantee we're going to be near and around you. Our podcast is called Stuff Worth Trying. As leaders, there's stuff worth trying.
And it doesn't matter what age you're at.
Correct.
You can be 13 or you can be 72 or 80.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
And sometimes I think that's kind of intimidating too. I'm like, I don't know if I can get up and keep up with some of these guys that are running and all. But it's all part of everyone kind of bringing everyone together.
Well, and that's what we're called to do, right? Nobody gets left behind. But at the same time, I shouldn't say but, and at the same time, nobody is left as we found them. And that's important. And that's hard because, you're trying to develop your folks, right? And that means you have to move from where you are to where you want to be. We're not driven to do that as often as we like to think we are. But if you find the right mentor, somebody that you trust, they'll drag you if they have to because they know you have it in you. And that's what we're aiming to do.
Well, let's say someone in our community wants to get involved in, who do they call?
F3Greensboro.com.
F3
Every single one of
Greensboro.
our workouts are there. We meet Monday through Friday, and some of them are open to the entire family. Every Sunday we get together and walk our dogs around Country Park. So as a,
So you
local...
can just show up, or would it help to call, or will, if you put
You
your
could-
name in there,
yeah.
someone will call you and say, please come? Or
I mean, there's a
you're
spectrum
welcome.
of curiosity, right? If you're just gung-ho, just show up. Put a pair of gloves on because we're on the ground doing push-ups at a parking deck. Who knows what's on that cement? Maybe that's where COVID started. I don't know. But we may be all curing the cure. At the other end of the spectrum, if you are very, very curious, there's an email on our website, F3 Greensboro. That's me. And I love talking to guys who are looking to unlock themselves.
So
You
Karen,
have been
give them the text number that if anybody can text questions
That's a
or.
really good point. If anyone has any questions for us, and we will put you in touch with Cory, 855-939-6273. My voice is changing. But that's 855-939-6273. And Cory, thank you so much for
Well, thanks for what you're
everything
doing
that
here
you
for the
do
community.
Absolutely.
and sharing your story and sharing what y'all do.
Yeah. And what's next, Karen?
Our next guest is going to be Beth Sauer, and she is another leader in the real estate industry, and we can't wait to share her story.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.